I want to help you have an awesome year. That's my whole goal with this channel. For every video that you watch, for the entirety of this year, I want to help you make enormous amounts of progress towards your goal. That's all I want to achieve with every single video we make. And for the first video back for 2025, I want to set you up with everything you need to make more progress this year than 99% of people. I think the biggest fuck up that leads to most people not achieving what they set out to achieve at this time of year, their New Year's resolutions, their goals, their ambitions, not achieving those things. I think the big fuck up that stops people from doing that is seeing the year in its entirety. When you get to January 1st, you've got 365 days, 52 weeks, 12 months ahead of you. And that creates this false sense of comfort, this false sense of time. You feel like you have an abundance of time in order to achieve what you want to achieve. But the reality is that an incredible year, you achieving what you want to achieve this year, you watching this right now, achieving what you want to achieve this year, will be made up of incredible days and incredible weeks and incredible months. And unless you set yourself up to have incredible days that turn into incredible weeks, that turn into incredible months, that then stack on top of each other, by November and December this year, you will not have achieved what you wanted to achieve because you lacked the urgency in order to achieve it. See, what you do today and what you do this week and what you do this month are equally as important to the entirety of the year as the entirety of the year. And so I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that a year isn't a long period of time. It is a long period of time. But a great year, you achieving what you want to achieve, will be made up of what you do today. And what you do tomorrow, and what you do this week, and what you do this month, that then turns into next month, and the month after that, and the month after that. And before you know it, you'll have stacked an unbelievable amount of work that is all snowballing towards you achieving what you could barely dream of achieving December 31st last year. And so that's the mindset I want you to carry into not only the rest of this video, but the rest of this year. That what you do today will create the results that you'll have come December 31st, 2025. So in today's video, I want to give you the 4 crucial first steps that you need to take today in order to create incredible days that turn into incredible weeks, that turn into incredible months, that turn 2025 into your best year yet. But before I do any of that, in case you're sitting there right now wondering who the fuck is this guy and why should I listen to him? My name's Noske. I've been a content creator for the last 8 years, and in the last 2.5 years, I've taken my online education business from 0 to 7 figures per year. And now through this channel and through these videos, I'm trying to help some of you hopefully do the same. So let's get into it. The first thing that you need to do right now is get crystal clear on your goals. And a lot of you have probably already done this. You've set some New Year's resolutions, you've set some goals, you created a vision board for what you want to achieve for the year. But the part that a lot of you probably haven't done yet is taken those goals and then figured out the outputs that you need to take today, this week, and this month in order to achieve those things come the end of the year. And so the second, less obvious point of getting crystal clear on your goals is I want you to figure out the exact outputs you need to take today, this week, and this month in order to move the needle, and then focus all of your energy on those outputs, taking them each day, each week, and each month at the expense of literally everything else. If you want to build your business to its first 6-figure year, it's not going to be made up of that entire goal. It's going to be made up of the daily actions that turn into the weekly actions that turn into the monthly actions that create that outcome. And so I would urge you to figure out exactly what those things are. And you know what those things are. If you sit down and you look at an entire week, you can write down a list of 2, 3, 4 different things that if you complete those things each and every week this year, you will be miles ahead of where you are right now. And so figuring those things out and then focusing on those at the expense of everything else will move the needle more than anything else. And so if your goal is broken down into incremental launches, focus on the launches. If your goal is broken down into incremental pieces of content, focus on the pieces of content, not the broader goal. If you spend all of your time thinking about the entirety of the goal and not the action that you need to take today, you will never get there. Whereas if you focus all of your energy on focusing on the action you need to take today, and then tomorrow, and then this week, and then this month, you will get there inevitably. Number 2, in order to have an incredible year this year, you need to shorten the distance between idea and action. One of the biggest mistakes that I've made in the past is spending way too much time after an idea has come to me before I take action on that idea. Whether it be a product and launch or a content idea and actually publishing that piece of content, I've wasted potentially months of my life in that period between idea and action. And all of you have felt this reality. All of you have gone through the experience where you come up with an idea and then you labor on that idea for weeks. But then from the moment that you decide to take action to it being completed is only a tiny percentage of that entire period of time. And so if you just eliminate all that fluff between idea and action, getting people's opinions, writing about the idea, thinking about the idea, considering alternative ideas, if you just eliminate that entire period of time, all of that fluff, think about how much more you could get completed in a year. I've done this an enormous amount in terms of my products, in terms of my content, in terms of my clients, in terms of everything I do. I've wasted enormous amounts of time between idea and action. And so for me, the biggest needle mover in terms of my business, in terms of my content, in terms of my brand, has been completely eliminating that distance between idea and taking action. If you come up with an idea for a video, make it today, not this week. If you come up for an idea for a product, make it this week, not this month. Shorten the distance between you coming up with an idea and it being released into the world, and then compound that over an entire year, and you'll make more progress than most people are capable of comprehending. Number 3, create and pursue projects that force productivity. One of the things that I've realized probably in the last 2 years that has created a lot of the results that I've achieved in the last 2 years is that I used to think that I was a massive procrastinator. I used to think that I struggled with discipline and I couldn't get things done because I would always overthink things and I would spend way too much time preparing to act instead of acting. But it was only once I realized that I didn't struggle with procrastination. I just lacked a project that forced me not to procrastinate, that everything changed. I am super undisciplined and super unproductive in terms of my business between launches. For me, between finishing a program with a group of students, finishing a cohort, and starting the next one, there is about a 4-week period where I am super unproductive in terms of my business. But then from deciding to start that 30-day lead-in, the 10-day launch, and the 6-week program, working 12-hour days during that period of time is effortless. And the reason isn't that I've suddenly turned off my procrastination or suddenly turned on my productivity. The reason is that I now have a project, I have something in front of me that forces me to be productive. And so for you, if you have nothing that you are working towards, if you have no deadlines, if you have no dates that you need to have things done, then you are inevitably going to struggle with procrastination because you have no reason not to. Whereas if you give yourself a deadline, if you create artificial circumstances in which you need to get things done, you will get more done. And so if you are someone who struggles with procrastination, if you are someone who feels like you can't get the things that you want to get done in the time that you need to get them done, well then create and pursue projects that force you to be productive. Tell people you're going to create something, sell spots to it as a pre-sale, and then build it after you've already sold it. I promise if you've got a 30-day period to get something done because people have already bought it and there is a locked-in date for when it needs to be done, you will get it done and you're not going to struggle at all with procrastination. A lot of you don't have an issue with procrastination. You have an issue of not having any projects that force you not to procrastinate. And number 4, the last one on this list, is to eliminate everything but the one thing. I want you to think about the end of this year. Having come to the end of 2025, it's December 31st, you're thinking about 2026. If you could pick one of your goals that if you achieve that goal would make this year an unbelievable success, what would that goal be? What would that one thing be that if you only achieve that and nothing else, none of the other goals that you have, whether you've got fitness goals or personal goals, what is the one goal that if you achieved it would make this year an unbelievable success? I'm sure something comes to mind immediately. I'm sure one thing stands out above all the other goals that you have. If you can identify that one thing, I want you to focus on that one thing and eliminate everything else. Because something that took me far too long to finally learn in my own life is that I can do anything, but I can't do everything. And sometimes our goals, even though they are equally as important to us, will compete with one another and stop you from achieving either. Sometimes you achieving what you want to achieve will come at the expense of things that are equally as important to you. And I'm not telling you to fuck off your entire personal life. I'm not telling you to fuck off your health. I'm not trying to tell you to eliminate everything else completely. But I'm trying to tell you that if your goal is important enough to you, it will come at the expense temporarily of some of the goals that you think are equally as important. For me in 2022, the end of 2022 and 2023, when I was really focused on building this business, I let my fitness slip. Something that is unbelievably important to me. In mid-2022, I completed an Ironman in 9.5 hours. I was the fittest I had ever been in my entire life by a country mile. I felt phenomenal. And then for the next 12 months, I let that fitness slowly teeter down because my goal of building my business was more important to me at the time. And that hurt. That wasn't an easy decision to make. That wasn't something that I just decided and then it never bothered me again. It bothered me every single fucking day that I felt myself getting less and less fit, more and more out of shape. But I knew that my goal of achieving my business success was more important to me at the time, to the point now where I'm able to refocus some of my energy back on my fitness pursuits and back on my training and back on achieving, hopefully, close to a 9.5 hour Ironman again. But sometimes in order to achieve the goals that you want to achieve, they will come at the expense of your other goals. And so for this year, if you truly want to make 2025 your best year yet, it will mean picking the one thing and eliminating everything else. Achieving a lot is never about doing a lot. Achieving a lot is about doing less exceptionally well. Most people who achieve enormous success in anything did so at the expense of some area of their life. You have to be willing to suck at some things temporarily whilst you pursue a more important goal. And again, that doesn't mean that you can't refocus on those things later down the line, but it may mean sacrificing a year or sacrificing 2 years towards something at the expense of something else. And so if you're in a position right now where you have multiple goals, maybe you've got a personal goal, a fitness goal, and a business goal, which of those goals, if you had to pick, if it came to the end of this year and you only achieved one of them, out of those 3 goals, which one, if you only achieved that one thing, would make this year a giant success? If you can clearly identify that, and there's an obvious choice, which I would imagine from my own experience, that there probably is an obvious choice for you. Pick that obvious choice and choose to pursue that at the expense of the other 2 temporarily. I hope this video helps, and I'll see you in the next one.